Now obviously, there are the different whiskey regions, but of course the most hyper premium, the most prestige whiskey region in terms of whiskey cask investment is the island of Islay. Islay is not just producing this super premium, this super peated whiskey, it is in worldwide demand. And the great thing about worldwide demand is when it's a tiny little island with just a handful of distilleries on it, there's only so much whiskey can be made, and yet demand outstrips supply. So if you are ever fortunate enough to be capable and in the position to get your hands on any age of whiskey that comes from the island of Islay, and again you can verify that it is genuinely that, and you can get your delivery order and everything else, my God, you should just be skipping away once you've signed all your paperwork, got your delivery order in hand, because there's 2 independently owned distilleries active on the island. They're owned by billion-dollar companies, but there's huge growth worldwide. You know, everyone's wanting peated whiskey, but they just can't make it. You know, you can't replicate an Islay distillery on the mainland, and it takes years and years and years to even look at building before you then even factor in the building time of a new distillery on Islay. And of course, Islay being so small, that's hyper protected too. So if you've got that amazing storm that's going on where worldwide everybody wants more and more Islay whiskies, where there's a small amount of distilleries to produce it, and where when these distilleries do release special versions, they're always more and more expensive than the last one. Because as long as you've got it verified, as long as you can go see it, as long as you've got your delivery order, all these other things that we've spoken about, then my God, you should grab that cask and just sit there with a giant smile on your face, because these casks are the hardest casks to get hold of. They don't want independent bottlers getting hold of them, because if independent bottlers start to release these casks either at sub-quality or at different year statements, or start messing about and recasking them into different types of casks, then it affects their brand, it affects the pricing, it affects the plan that these billion-dollar companies have in place to keep this continued growth and rarity of these amazing Islay whiskies. Now, of course, outside of that, you have the wonderful Macallan, owned by the Edrington Group. Now, if anyone starts trying to offer you a Macallan cask that is after 1999, then straight away you should run for the hills, because they don't exist. There are no Macallan casks past 1999, when the Edrington Group took ownership of Macallan, Highland Park and Glenrothes, because Edrington came into Macallan, they had their plan that they were going to make this super hyper premium product that would sit recognised alongside the likes of your Apple, your Rolex, your Ferrari, and my God have they done it. But of course part of that is you don't allow any more Macallans into the market, and so they didn't past 1999. So you have Edrington Group pumping millions of pounds into making Macallan this hyper premium brand, and bravo to them, my God have they done it. So any Macallan casks that exist are only from 1999 backwards. That is part of the reason that they're so expensive, and of course with that age range, it is also because they are super rare. You are looking at 200 to £500,000 for a cask of Macallan, and of course if you get any of the Macallans from the 80s, of which they are very rare these days, you're going upwards of that. And that is obviously because you can look anywhere online and you can find a 40, 45-year-old, 50-year-old bottle of Macallan for 30, 40, 50,000 pounds. And if you are blessed enough to be in that privileged position to be able to purchase a cask of Macallan, my God, before you do so, certainly take your time, think it through. But if you are, then again, I would be taking in that Macallan, I'd be sitting on it till it hits its next age statement where it would be bottling, and then you will have an abundance of independent bottlers looking to buy that off of you, or even maybe the distillery itself might want to buy it back off of you after doing their quality checks on the liquid. If you buy that Macallan, then make sure you go to the warehouse and you see it and you taste it and take in that, and of course it will be a tremendous investment for you. Now, a lot of people do talk about, you know, certain regions being better than other regions. This is purely a taste-driven opinion, because there are superstars in every single whiskey producing region. There is not one particular region other than Islay, because they all have wonderful, fabulous distilleries in them. And in years to come, there might be more wonderful, fabulous distilleries distilleries, because 50 new distilleries have popped up across the last 5 to 10 years, but they don't have the prevalence or the prominence for you to really be going into buying casks from. So every region has got its own rock stars that have been there a long established time, that are owned by massive companies, whether it is Beam Suntory, Pernod Ricard, Diageo, and they're all worthwhile investments. Again, if you've got any questions about any of this, just put them in the box below and we'll respond as quickly as possible.